guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are going to have a little sneak peek of our upcoming release. I did not set out to make back-to-back videos with 4 cards, but that is what I have done. These were super fast, came together really quick. So I am using the Tag Your It Luxury, the Lovely Layers Wrap It Up, the Lovely Layers Accessorize It Tagged, and then this old school, it's not old, super old, it's actually only a couple years old, but it's one of my favorite ones. It is the birthday cling stamp. And so, in case you haven't guessed by the photos, we're creating birthday cards that look like presents. So I wanted to do some distress watercolor stamping. I thought that that would make really fun kind of wrapping paper. And so I just picked out several different distress oxides. I chose oxides because they do stamp better than distress inks. And while I'm not going for perfection here because I am, stamping it as a watercolor, I do still want it to be somewhat legible. So I'm going to stamp it once after I've inked it with all of my colors, spritzed it, and then this time I'm not going to re-ink it. I'm just going to spritz it again and stamp it a second time. So a second generation impression. And these are both on watercolor paper. I actually, honestly, in both of the versions, I like the second version, the second generation stamping better. I don't know why, but I do. So then I did a masculine and then a more feminine. So this one is going to be red, pinks, purples, and don't do what I do, do what I say. Start with your lightest color first, so that way you aren't contaminating your ink pads. I was just super excited to be making the things that I wasn't really paying attention to that, and I should have been. So in order to not contaminate your ink pads, go lightest to darkest. And then you do want to spritz it. You don't want it to be like pooling up on your stamp. You just want to lightly spritz it to kind of activate those watercolor properties that distress inks and distress oxides have. And then you're going to stamp it down. This one is a little bit less clean than the other one, but I think it's because I'm almost out of water, so it was spitting out kind of larger droplets of water than it normally does. It's a finer mist usually, but that's okay. It still ended up being fine, and I think it does look like happy birthday wrapping paper, which was my whole goal. So I am certainly not mad about it. And you can do it in regular colors too. So here is why when we first started the video, it looks like I had already had ink on there. It's because I did. And it's because I made this guy over here to the left that I didn't like and didn't use. Sometimes we have to experiment to see what we do and do not like. That was on regular cardstock. This is actually, I'm using the earth tones. Honeybee just came out with their own cardstock. They are using cardstock sampled from Spellbinders colors, which is great quality. And so I used they just had the hive hues is what it's called. And this is the earth tones. I used the green, the teal, and the red. And then the pink is actually, I think, Gina K. So as you can see, each one, we have a scallop and we have a straight edge. And so it has a 4 1/4 width ribbon. It has a 5 1/2 width ribbon. It has the tails, and then it has the bows. You actually do want 2 of those bow pieces, and then the centers as well. So you want 2 of those bow pieces, and if you're going to do a double tail, you want 2 of the tail pieces. And so I did 2 versions that were just the straight bow, and then I did 2 that were the scallops. So in order to get these rounded, I found that it was easier for me to do it with my finger first. So I just held it in place and used my finger to round that edge up. And then if I wanted a deeper kind of bend, I was able to just use anything round, just like you would do with a regular ribbon. You can use anything round. I happen to have my die release tool sitting next to me, so that's what I used. So then once you have them rounded, you're going to want to put adhesive on the ends, and then you're going to fold them over to create the bow. I used liquid adhesive. That did mean that I had to hold them for a minute so that they would dry. If you use dry adhesive, you would not. They would just immediately hold. And so you can use either or, whichever you prefer. And then, so you do need 2 for each one. If you're, I guess I shouldn't say that, because you could do just a single bow to the 2 tails. But for the way that it's intended, you do want 2 of them. And then your long piece, this is an A2 size card, so 5.5 by 4.25. So your long piece, your 5.5, does go the portrait, and then your short piece, the 4.25, goes the width. Now obviously you could turn these. I didn't, because the pattern that I chose has words. So if you just did kind of an all over kind of pattern, or you're using pattern paper, you could turn it and do it as a landscape card. That would be really, really cute too. You know me, I cannot let anything go with no shading. And so I am going to go in here on each of my bows and just add a little bit of shading. You certainly do not have to do this. And I didn't shade my actual rounded pieces, like the rounded bow part. I just shaded the parts that were down on the card. I didn't feel like I needed to shade the bow pieces because they're 3D, like they stand up above the card, so they already have their own natural shadows. So I didn't really feel like I needed to add to that, but you absolutely could. And so then this was the first one that I did, so it's a little bit of experimentation. So then when I was going to do the second piece, I was like, this would really benefit from some foam tape. So then I put the foam tape down into the center, and then I put the second piece of the bow on. For the middle piece, I went back to the liquid adhesive. I should have shaded this before I put it on, but I didn't. So once I get it down, held down there, I am going to add that little bit of extra shading for that kind of ribbon piece that looks like it's tied in the center. And then I realized that I didn't really like the way that my mid-tone was kind of blending out into my cardstock. So I went over it with a lighter green. You're not going to be able to see this once the alcohol evaporates, but it's just going to help it blend. So I kind of knocked it there, and I was like, ooh, I don't think this is holding as well as I think that it is. So I did go back in with another piece of foam tape and adhered it there, and now it is strong. It is on there. I'm able to pick up the whole card by my bow, and it isn't going anywhere, shaking it around, the whole deal. So this is the teal that I used. This has the scallop edge. This one I also did a double bow with. I'll show you the double bow on the red one. So all of this to say, these products, except for the Happy Birthday and the Hive Hues, are not available yet, but they will be when we do our next release. So you might be asking, when is our next release? And so Honeybee's next release is April 15th, 1/5. And okay, so here, these are the 2 that I did originally, and then I could not help myself because I was like, I really want to do a girl, but well, I mean, I guess it's not really anymore, but more feminine colors, more traditionally feminine colors. Because I use birthday cards more than anything, and I always hand deliver them. So these are really, really cute and fast for me. And so I was like, yeah, I could totally knock out 4. I think all 4 of these took me maybe an hour. And that was like from start, experiment, complete. Like it was really, really fast. And if you skip all this coloring that I'm doing here, you could knock it out in probably 20 minutes. I'm not even kidding. Very fast cards, which I need because sometimes I forget that I need a card until it's time to do the card. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, this one I did cut 2 of the tails, and I'm going to do the double tails here. I'm also going to shade them before I put them onto the card. So the next release is called Style in Bloom, and it is April 15th. That will be the release party, and then the release will be live in the store following the release party. So very exciting, very exciting. It's a good one. I think it's a lot of fun. So anywho, yeah, I mean, is it only me? It can't only be me. I make more birthday cards than I think I will ever need. And then inevitably it'll be somebody's birthday and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't have a card. Like, this is my whole job. This is my whole life's job, y'all. And I will not have a card. So, yeah, it's just these, I like having ones that are really quick and easy. And then especially because like this one's happy birthday, but you could change this up to be anything. Like holiday, you could do the bows in glitter paper, in mirror paper, and make them really extra fancy and festive. Or you could do like tone on tone to make it a little bit more subtle. You could do, what is that? What's the background? Vintage flora. Like you could do that if you wanted something to be like a bit more like anniversary or a bit more vintage or romantic. Like that would be really fun. So here, doing the double, all I've done is I have adhered one to the bottom and one to the top. It looks like a big X, but this is going to give me 4 tails. So it's going to look like a double bow. You can do them however you want. So like I said, you could do the single, though, you know, I haven't seen the examples, but I do think you could use them like that. I think you could use the bows like just over there by themselves as bow ties or hair bows. Like I think you could use them for a lot of different things. But on the card with the double, I'm going to adhere them the same way. And then put the center, so it just has those 4 tails instead of 2 tails. And I think they're really cute. I just like fast, easy stuff sometimes. Probably because like my regular cards do take me like 2 hours. Sometimes when you need something, it is nice just to have it, to be able to knock it out. So this one, I'm going to do a little bit differently. And I wrap several of my gifts like this in real life. I'm going to do it more where it's kind of like off center. So I'm going to do it so that it's more to the top because this is a portrait style card. You could also do it where it's off to like the left or the right. I do that well, I don't do it anymore because I don't have any time. But when I used to wrap gifts with bows and ribbons, you know, when I was young and I had time to do that, I would do this so they were like kind of bows up toward the top or bows, you know, off to the left or off to the right, just to kind of mix up the way that the presents were looking underneath the Christmas tree. And I'm a big fan of the ribbon because I typically I tell you guys all the time that I'm super matchy, but that's how I buy gifts too. So like if I'm buying my sisters a Christmas gift, like I typically try to get them like a whole outfit, or if I can't do like pants, shirt, pull together piece, like a cardigan, a sweater, a jacket, you know, something that pulls it all together. If I can't do all of them, then I will usually do like a top, a pull together piece, and like an accessory. So anyway, they all have like 2 or 3 boxes to open whenever I am gift giving. So I do like doing this in real life. All right, now for the sentiments. These are the tagged. And so here I wanted to stamp them, but I didn't want to have to worry about whether or not I was going to be able to fit my sentiment, 1, and then 2, that all the dies would fit. So what I ended up doing was I just laid down the dies. I traced them with a pencil. I'm not going to be worried about the pencil line because it's on the outside edge. So I don't have to be worried about that. The die won't cut that far. And then I'm able to put in my sentiments and stamp them down. So here I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp them down. And then also, like, you're not married to this. You know what I mean? You guys didn't go to the altar and take vows. So if something is happening where you're like, it's a little bit off, like for me, it was this circle down here on the left. I stamped it too low on the circle and I wanted it to be more centered. So I just scooched it down so that the die would cut it then to be centered. And then when I was done, I just erased that pencil line down at the bottom. And then you can build these tags in, like while you're building the bow, you can put them in between the layers so that they sit on top, which I think is a really great idea. But I was super excited about putting all of mine together. So I wasn't paying attention to that. So I just stuck them up underneath my bow. And these have cute little ones. Like I made this just for you. This is for you, but I wish it was mine. And then made with love. like there's really sweet ones in here too. Your gift isn't just a present, it's a piece of my heart. It's very, very cute. So anyway, I stuck them all up underneath there, and then that was it. I do think that you could like bejewel these, like put a big gem in the center. Like I think you could do lots of glitters and stuff like that that would make them really extra, but I think that they look great like this too. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you're as excited about the next release as I am, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.